Hey, comic lovers, EMoney and the old man back with you again with Thor the Dog of Thunder. Hey, boy. Hey, boy. You have fun? Yeah? You having fun? Good. All right, so this week, well, we had our second garage sale of the season, our pop-up comic shop. Did very well. Great turnout. So thank you, everyone, for coming if you're listening. And, like we say every week, we're going to have new stuff in this coming Saturday. And it's Derby week, but if you come early enough, that shouldn't interfere with any of your Derby plans.
And it's also free comic book day in most of the shops. Now, we don't participate in that because, well, we can't order new comic books.
Right.
But I understand if you need to go hit some of the shops to get your free comic books, but try to fit us into the schedule. We're open from 10 to 2 next week.
Right. And, we have all new or almost all new toys for you if you want to check those out. And we're going to have all kinds of new comic books to show you. So, be sure to join us for that. All right. So what's going on today? Well, we are going to be talking about entertainment news, about news about the Fantastic Four in the MCU, and also what's going on the DC shows at the CW. Also, we are saying goodbye to a legend this week, and we're going to be paying tribute to him. Also, we're going to be having our comic reviews and previews, and also we're going to give you a preview of what you can expect at this week's pop-up comic shop. All right? We are just mere days away from Doctor Strange. Do not be a Multiverse of Madness spoiler. Shut your damn mouths. This is Back Issues. All right, comic lovers. So before we get started today, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on your notifications, give us a thumbs up, and if you like, leave us a comment. Give us your thoughts on some of these stories, or you can give us some comic book recommendations. Also, let us know what you're interested in for this week's pop-up comic shop. All right, so we have some comic book news or comic book related news. First up, from the MCU, it has been confirmed that Spider-Man No Way Home director Jon Watts will not be directing the MCU Fantastic Four movie as originally thought. So, unfortunately, the filmmaker has decided to move on from the project, with Deadline reporting that Watts is just looking to take a break from superhero movies.
So who's taking his spot?
Well, we don't know that just yet.
Oh.
And in a joint statement, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige and co-president Louis D'Esposito said, "Collaborating with Jon on the Spider-Man films has been a true pleasure. We were looking forward to continuing our work with him to bring the Fantastic Four into the MCU, but understand and are supportive of his reasons for stepping away. We are optimistic that we will have the opportunity to work together again at some point down the road." So he actually directed all 3 MCU Spider-Man movies. So in his own statement addressing the news, Watts added, "Making 3 Spider-Man films was an incredible and life-changing experience for me. I'm eternally grateful to have been a part of the MCU for 7 years. I'm hopeful we'll work together again and can't wait to see the amazing vision for Fantastic Four brought to life." So there's no word on a new director for Fantastic Four yet.
Well, you kind of need that. If you don't have a director, you're not going to make the movie. So, come on.
But the film is currently scheduled for a 2024 release date, so there's plenty of time to find a new director.
Hey, guys, Marvel, Disney. I'm retired. I mean, I could probably come out of retirement and give you a little time.
Do they have Make-A-Wish for adults who aren't sick?
Well, hell, if it matters if you're sick or not, I could be sick.
I mean, they have those, what do you call, dream camps or fantasy camp? Yeah, fantasy camps. Make it, part of the directing. All right. So as for Watts, his upcoming directing schedule includes a film with George Clooney and Brad Pitt scheduled to star, Ocean's 14 maybe, and at least one episode of an upcoming Star Wars show that is described as Stranger Things in Space.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah. So, best of luck to Mr. Watts. And here's hoping we find a Fantastic Four director soon. All right, so that's it for that story. Now we're going on to DC. So over at the CW, both Batwoman and Legends of Tomorrow have been canceled at the CW.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not exactly surprised.
Well, sadly, Legends of Tomorrow will end its 7th season on a cliffhanger.
That sucks.
With Legends being arrested for time crimes.
Well, if you remember, what was it? Lois and Clark Adventures. What was the show?
Lois and Clark: New Adventures of Superman.
Yeah, that ended on a cliffhanger, and I was pissed about that for years.
Yeah. I mean, any show that makes it 7 seasons, even if it limped along the entire time, I mean, I think it deserves a proper finale.
The cast and crew deserve to have an ending to the story they've been telling. To just let it, it ticks me off.
Yeah. I mean, even if we, put in all this effort watching, sometimes, it felt kind of a chore at times. I mean, I think we deserve to be rewarded for our efforts and have a proper finale.
I mean, if nothing else, wrap it up in 15 minutes in an episode of The Flash or something.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right, so while Batwoman ended a little more neatly with the season 3 finale hinting at potential new stories, but could also serve as the show's finale.
No, they screwed that show up from the get-go.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you have a rogues gallery like the Batfolk do and then focus on one villain who's not even in the comics for every episode? It's like, why wouldn't you mix in more? I mean, sure, they did the Mad Hatter for a little bit. Was it the Mad Hatter?
I mean, Mad Hatter was in Gotham, but I don't know if I remember him in Batwoman.
Seemed like they threw somebody else at us.
Black Mask was in it for a little bit.
Okay, well, somebody, but
so
all those other guys, and you didn't use a single one of them? That's pitiful.
I mean, they just hinted at it. I mean, when we first saw Batwoman in, I think it was Elseworlds, and they hinted at all these villains that, you see all their stuff at Arkham, and you think, okay, we're going to see all these villains in the new Batwoman show coming up, and then you don't see any of it. I mean, it was just a teasing lie is what it was. And personally, I think Batwoman probably should have ended when Ruby Rose left. I mean, no offense to Javicia Leslie, but so much of the show centered around Kate and her relationship with Alice. And, even with the show going 2 more seasons, like, so much felt unresolved there.
Well, I thought sure when they got rid of Kate, they were going to get rid of Alice.
Nope.
No. Same villain.
I mean, I've said it before, Alice could have been good for like half a season, and then you should have just moved on. And there was a point after Crisis where there was a doppelganger of Alice from another Earth, and they had this whole thing where neither one of them could survive while the other one lives, and one of them is going to have to die. And it's like, you had a perfect out. I mean, you could have kept the actress on and gotten rid of the character, but they didn't. They fudged it up, and we ended up with Alice still. All right, so a big part of the reason I think that the DC shows are getting, they're cleaning house for the CW shows is after Crisis on Infinite Earths, the DC show's showrunner, Greg Berlanti, I think he really lost interest. Because it's like the Crisis was like the absolute peak of what you could do with those shows. And then after that, he's like, what more can we do? And he just sort of lost interest, and he, cut the fat with a lot of the less popular shows.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, DC and Marvel, there is a limitless amount of storytelling that you could use if you just read some of the source material. And it's like, why do you have to limit it to just a few things?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I mean, I said it before, I feel like they think that they didn't want to be like Gotham because Gotham was very villain heavy, so they thought hey, let's have our own villain and not do the other villains in Gotham as much.
Well, then they should have thrown more of their own villains at us instead of just the one.
Yeah, just the one.
Anyway.
But anyways, now fans have they've been able to save shows before. So would a fan campaign save either of these 2 shows and give them a proper finale? Let us know what your thoughts on it. Shows that have been saved and gotten a proper finale. You have Veronica Mars, Jericho, Firefly got a movie. So
still not a good farewell.
Yeah, I mean it's never going to be a proper farewell for Firefly.
We don't talk about Firefly.
Okay, So,
No.
you know, people can save shows. So let us know. Longmire, another one, got picked up at Netflix.
And just talking about doing another season.
All right, so let us know about it in the comments section. All right, so we're going to do something special with Thor here in just a little bit. But in the meantime, let's head back inside and give that proper send-off to a legend of the comic book industry. All right, comic lovers, today we are saying goodbye to a titan of comic books. Neal Adams had been a figure of the comic book industry for just about 5 decades, really. And he has created some of the most iconic comic book covers in comic book history. I mean, so many different stuff he's come up with. Green Lantern, Green Arrow number 85, the issue where Speedy is dealing with drug abuse, and Oliver is tasked with getting him off of it. Then you have this iconic cover, Superman number 233, the image of Superman breaking out of kryptonite chains. Yeah, that's been pretty good staple of Superman for a long time now. And then you have this one right here, Batman number 251. This is what really brought Batman back from the brink, in my opinion. For a long time, Batman had been drawn and written in the style of the Adam West TV series with all of the goofy campiness. And
it wasn't quite as bad as the TV show, but yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, and Neal Adams was a big part of what helped bring Batman back to his really grizzled, darker tones.
I remember a backup story in one of the giant-sized books, the kind of square-bound format Batman issues, and he stops a bank robbery, and he chases the one of the hold-up men into a cemetery. And it's dark, it's terrifying. It's like, man, that's what Batman's all about.
Okay, and that was a Neal Adams?
That was a Neal Adams story.
Nice. And then, of course, for those of you Louisville natives, we have this cover, the Superman versus Muhammad Ali special. This was a really big cover because on top of it being a big event, Superman versus Muhammad Ali, but Neal Adams, he had a lot of fun with this cover because if you see the full picture, it's front and back on the comic book. There's a lot of celebrities that you see in the crowd, both comic book characters and real people.
And it's not just some of the people are celebrities. Every single one of them is somebody. Even inside the comic book, he did a chart showing you who everybody was.
Mm-hmm. And just this image here that I have, obviously there's Batman front and center watching the match, and I'm pretty sure that's Lex Luthor next to him. To the right you have Jimmy Carter, and if you zoom in on the other side of the ring, there's Lucille Ball. So, all kinds of characters in this image. So, if you want to go online, you'll see the full image, and you can see, find the chart that has all the different celebrities listed. It's kind of like a Where's Waldo of comic books here. So, Neal Adams did all that, and, on top of, creating some of the most iconic comic book covers of all time, Neal Adams was a really big advocate for creators' rights.
Oh, he was a juggernaut. I mean, some of the things he did, he was able to help get Jack Kirby his artwork back.
Mm-hmm. And Kirby, correct me if I'm wrong here, he had a kind of a falling out with Marvel and Stan Lee, and they had held on to some of his artwork, and Neal Adams was a big part of getting that back. Is that?
Well, yes, but what a lot of people don't realize is comic book artists don't make a lot of money. And for a guy like Kirby to be denied his original art, you're cutting his income more than half.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just horrendous.
Mm-hmm. And on top of that, also what he did for Superman creators Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Just to give you guys a brief history lesson here. Jerry Siegel, Joe Shuster, guys who created Superman, they had a falling out with DC a couple years after they had created Superman, and they felt like they had, they weren't being paid as well as they should be for their work, and they couldn't come to an agreement, and they left. And they actually sued DC for the rights to Superman and ended up losing in court.
They didn't have a prayer.
Yeah. And so they moved on from DC, and they tried to, have more creations in comic books. One of the first things they did at another company was a character called Funny Man, and I talked about that in one of our very earliest episodes. And it was I think there were 6 issues of Funny Man, and there's actually a website last I checked where you can read all 6 issues online. And it didn't go over well, didn't sell well, so that's why I got canceled after 6 issues. Then, eventually Jerry and Joe, they moved on from comic books. They did other stuff. At one point, I think one of them was a parcel delivery driver. And, they were just, barely making ends meet when, these guys, they freaking created Superman. And, they're struggling to pay their bills every month. Well, 70s roll around, and they hear that, and for a long time, they didn't even get creator credits in Superman comic books.
Not just where they shorted on money, but their names never came up.
Yeah, they weren't getting their due. They weren't getting credit for creating Superman in the comic books or any other Superman-related project. So the 70s roll around, and they find out that Warner Brothers and DC is making this big-budget Superman movie. And, they're going to make millions of dollars on this movie, and they're not going to get anything. Well, in walks Neal Adams. Now, I don't know all the specifics, but I do know that Neal Adams' efforts were a large part of why Jerry and Joe finally got the proper compensation that they were due, and they ended up getting credits for creating Superman in the opening sequence of the 1978 Superman movie.
Now, I know that I met him at a convention where this picture was taken down here. But you got a little bit closer than that.
Yeah, I did. I was working at a local news station at the time. I think this was in 2012 or something. And I was a camera operator. I ran all the remote cameras in the studio, so I didn't have a really creative position. Well, the producer for our 9 o'clock talk show calls me up and says, Eric, you do comic books, right? I said, yeah, I'm a comic book guy. And she says, do you know who Neal Adams is? Like, yeah, I've heard of Neal Adams.
Duh.
And she says, well, Neal Adams is going to do an interview with us on Friday because he's going to be in town for a convention. And he says, can you come up with some questions for the anchors to ask him?
Did you laugh?
I think I smiled, and I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I can come up with some questions. So I immediately got to work. I got excited about it really fast. And, I did a lot of research because, I knew who Neal Adams was, but I wanted to, brush up on all my history and make sure that, I got all the details right. So in my research, I was reminded that Neal Adams had done the Superman versus Muhammad Ali cover. And like, what better Louisville connection than this? So
that was gold.
Yeah, I think I figured it out during a commercial break during the week while we were doing the show, and I got excited and I ran up to my producer Holly in the studio and says, Holly, I got the perfect Louisville connection for the Neal Adams interview. He's like, oh yeah, what do you have? And I show her the picture, and she's like, oh my God, that's perfect. So I came up with a whole set of questions for them to ask Neal Adams, and the details of the story and what I told you guys earlier about the comic book cover. And they covered all kinds of different stuff, like the Batman cover, and also the drug stuff that he dealt with during that time. And it was just a great opportunity to be able to write that interview for Neal Adams. And obviously he posed a picture with me, and later that weekend at the convention, I got him to sign this print of his Batman cover. So yeah, that was a great weekend overall. Just having to have that experience with Neal Adams. But Neal, a titan of the industry, both behind the scenes and as a great artist, and he'll definitely be remembered.
He will be missed.
Mm-hmm. All right, so there is Neal Adams, and if you're a little hazy on details about all of Neal Adams' contribution, I encourage you to look it up. And also, there's a lot of Superman and also comic book documentaries that pay homage to Neal Adams. So I encourage you to check those out. All right, so we got a little surprise segment coming up here. So let's switch it over and see what we got. All right, so in the time it took us to go from the garage to down here, look what came in the mail. Our April Boxed Heroes set.
Good timing.
Yep. So now we're going to open this bad boy up and see what we got this month. So I tell you guys every month, if you want your own Boxed Heroes, you can do it one of two ways. You can go online to boxedheroes.com and you can get a one-time box just to see how you like it. Or you can get a monthly subscription, and with your monthly subscription, you get a subscriber bonus book with every box.
Which is usually the most interesting issue in the box.
Right. All right, so we have our usual extra goodies as we do in every box. We have our information of how we can win a free Boxed Heroes by posting on social media. Then we have a few stickers here. I assume this is a Pokemon. I'm not a Pokemon guy, so...
Nope.
Yeah, but I assume that is the case. We have Spider-Man here. And then we have a White Queen trading card from somebody. Impel, whatever that is.
Well, this isn't a reaction video, so I can't tell you to push the button. I can tell you to... Let's look at some comic books.
Okay. All right, let's see. Let's dump this out here. All right, there we go. Get that over there. All right, let's flip the one on the bottom over so they're all on the same side. No peeking, everybody. All right, let's see what we ended up with. First, we have, Something is Killing the Children, number 21. I know that the early issues are really popular, but I imagine this one is pretty fresh. So,
and I can guarantee we don't have it.
No, we missed the boat on Something is Killing the Children.
Yep.
All right, next up we have Batman Beyond number 1. I believe we have the exact same cover, so that's a bit of a bummer. Then we have Sandman Universe Nightmare Country. I believe you guys remember I reviewed that either last week or the week before. This one has a different cover, though.
We didn't really care for it.
Yeah, did not...
That's the A cover, I think. Let me see. Yep, that's the A cover.
Okay. Next up, we have New 52 Futures End, the Flash number 1 one-shot with a holographic cover there. So, it looks cool, but not sure it's going to be worth anything.
Yep. Nothing to jump up and down about, but hey, it's something.
All right, next up, we have Spider-Punk number 1, another comic we've reviewed very recently on the show. Different cover, though.
Yep, that's not the cover we have, so that's all right.
Then we have, this is, I guess it's 90s-ish, X-Men number 35.
That's not a key issue, I can tell you that much.
Yeah. All right, so then we have, probably the oldest issue we've seen in here so far, Alpha Flight number 30.
Also not a key issue.
This is from 1985, so I guess that's considered modern age?
Bronze.
Bronze, okay. All right, next up, we have X-Force number 58. And, not
a key issue.
I can't know for sure without looking it up, but I feel like there aren't a whole lot of valuable key issues of X-Force, so... But in any case, I'm almost positive this is not one of them.
It is not.
Okay. Next up, we have Superman Batman number 29. This is from 2006, so it's, a little old, 15 years old, so right there. And then we have our subscriber bonus book here. And it's Amazing Spider-Man number 1. I think we read that like this last week, right?
And what's the cover look like?
It looks like it's Black Cat and Mary Jane.
Oh, okay, well, it's not a
on the
cover we got.
Yeah.
And it was a cover I considered getting, so that's not too disappointing.
Okay, so not our best month in our opinion. I mean, last month I think we got the first appearance of Omega Red in a book.
We got a winner.
Yeah, and this week, I mean, there's like some value here, and we're gonna put most of these in our inventory, if not all of them.
Hey, just pull for Spider-Punk.
Yeah, hope Spider-Punk becomes valuable very soon. But we're gonna keep at it and see what we get next month.
Hey, I like mystery boxes; they're fun.
Mm-hmm. All right, so like I said, you want your own boxed heroes? Go to boxedheroes.com. All right, so there's your bonus segment for this week. All right, so let's get to our comic book reviews. All right, now, if you've never seen us do this before, we grade these comic books on a 5-shield rating system. We each give it 2 scores, one for writing and story, and the other one for artwork. And then we combine the 4 scores together and give it an average overall score. All right, so first up we have our mentions, and I told you guys we don't call them honorable mentions because sometimes we might have something negative to say about them. Case in point, our first mention this week.
Well, I guess this is an X book. We haven't been real big on the X-Men stories.
Not lately, no.
For a while. I mean, we found them to be extremely political, and politics isn't our most popular subject.
That one where they were voting on a new council member, I mean, that was torture.
I mean, even X-Corps. I mean, X-Corps is all about running a corporation, politics. How about we fight some bad guys?
Yeah.
At any rate, that's not what X-Men
It's so funny because most of the bad guys are on the council now.
Right. At any rate, this is Knights of X #1.
All right, so I'm going to be honest with you guys. I may have sped read through this. So this...
That means he skimmed it.
All right, I mean, another word could be skim. So this mutant guy, he wakes up in this medieval fantasy world, and he's being chased what look like medieval mutants, or I'm sorry, medieval sentinels. And he's running around, and he finds other mutants that are in the castle or the city, and he's trying to make sense of what's going on here. And then he wakes up back in Krakoa, and he's like, what the hell was that all about? What happened?
Hang on. Well, let's save these people some time. You skimmed it. I only read the first third of it. We can't do an honest review of this book. All we could say is we didn't really like it. Let's move on to the next book.
It was not very good. And there's not a whole lot of characters. I mean, if you're even a semi-serious reader, there's not a whole lot of characters in this issue that you care about.
Right. So let's move on.
I mean, there's Gambit. That's about it. And Jubilee, if you like Jubilee. All right, so Knights of X #1 ends up with
2.5 shields.
2.5 shields out of it. The artwork is the only thing that saved it. The artwork was okay.
We both gave the artwork a 3.
Right. All right, next up.
All right, from Aftershock, which we pick up the occasional book from Aftershock, a slightly different telling of the Santa Claus story.
Yep.
This is #1 of the naughty list.
All right, so just a quick thing here. I actually had an idea for a movie script that I came up with several years ago called The Naughty List. So when I saw this comic book, I was like, oh shit, did somebody steal my work again? Because so many times I come up with the concept and I feel like, something comes out shortly after I develop the story, and I'm like, somebody ripped me off. I mean, I know no one ripped me off, but I had a story for a zombie TV series, and if you read my story and then you watch the first few episodes of The Walking Dead, you would think that I ripped them off, but I didn't. I swear I didn't. I had never read The Walking Dead comic books before I wrote the script.
Reality is that The Walking Dead had been out for a long time.
Yeah, the books had been out, but I had never read them. I swear.
Neither one of us read them.
Yeah.
At first.
But somehow my story looks eerily like the Walking Dead story.
Hauntingly similar.
Yeah. Anyways, but other than having the same name as my script, it has nothing in common with my story that I came up with here. All right, so this guy makes a wish on a star. It's like in the Middle Ages, and he wishes that he could help bring some joy to these kids who need some help. And he wakes up the next morning, and he has this urge, this need to make toys, and he starts getting to work, whittling away. And when he like scars up his hands, and messes them up from all the whittling and the building, the next day they're kind of magically healed. And the operation like gets bigger, and he employs these little people who some people have dubbed them as elves because all the folklore about tiny people, but they're actually little people.
And because of the deal that he makes with these guys, they're perfectly happy to be called elves. Whatever you want to call us, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. But then when things get too big for him to get around and to deliver all the toys, he wakes up the next morning and there are these reindeer in his meadow. And it just keeps getting bigger, and he actually grows to resent the star for taking him so seriously. And also he doesn't age. That's the other thing. Everyone is dying all around him, including the elves, but he stays the same age, and he works throughout the year. So it gets to where in the hundreds of years later, someone steals his naughty list, and they are committing.
They don't just steal it.
Yeah, they're using the naughty list against him and punishing people.
They don't use it against him, but they do use it against the people who are really bad naughty.
Yeah. So, he gets pissed off about that and sets out to make it right. So, interesting take on the classic Santa story. Not the exact same story, but it has, a similar gritty take as the Mel Gibson movie Fat Man. If you've ever watched that, I urge you to check it out. So, the naughty list, number 1, we're going to keep reading it, and it comes in at
4 shields after we round it up.
4 shields rounded up. All right, so next up on our mentions.
All right. A book that's from a TV show that we both loved, from Boom Studios, All New Firefly, number 3.
All right, so I told you guys a little bit about this story where Kaylee is somehow the captain. Malcolm is still around, but Kaylee's the captain, and they still have yet to explain to us how that happened.
Or we missed those issues. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so in the story, they are looking to ambush a group of bandits who are harassing this group of monks, and they were hired by the monks to get their supplies back. And things don't go exactly according to plan, and Jane, who's supposed to be, the guy in the shadows with the gun, he ends up getting caught. Well, things turn around because, Kaylee apparently is, good at planning, and she had an extra ace up her sleeve. So they get back to the ship, and Jane's a little miffed because, Jane's like, why didn't you tell me about the other part of the plan? And, Kaylee says to Jane, I don't know, how much you're good for, Jane, other than pointing a gun at someone.
And screwing up a plan.
Yeah. So, Jane's, he's a little upset about that. And the way these characters are written in this, I could almost picture this being an episode of Firefly continuing on because, Jane, he's not as complicated, he's more complicated than he wants people to believe, because after the talk with Kaylee, he goes to Simon, the ship's doctor, and Simon's doing some kind of operation, I think. Mm-hmm. And Jane walks in and he says, hey doc, do you need help with something? I know I don't know much doctor and stuff, but I could, hold things. And Simon, if you ever watch the show, Jane and Simon have a pretty complicated relationship. And Simon kind of looks at him and says, you can hold the forceps. And so, Jane wanting to, do better by the ship, I think, is, good character development. The thing that holds this comic book back, I've told you before, is the artwork. Because...
It's okay.
Yeah, well, the problem is, if you took the dialogue out and the characters didn't have their distinctive outfits that from the show...
Oh, I wasn't sure Jane was Jane.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell who was who. And so it needs to get a better artist. Get the guy who did the Orville miniseries we read a few months ago, because getting the likeness of the actors down in the comic books, that guy, he has it down pat. So I say get that guy. So all new Firefly number 3 ends up with
3.5.
3.5 out of 5. All right, then.
And the last thing for our mentions. Now keep in mind, we don't get the Justice League every month because the story's not been that good lately. But because of the subject of this month's issue, we did pick up Justice League number 75.
All right, so, I mean, I don't know, because we haven't read Justice League, we don't know what is leading up to the death of the Justice League. But the key members of the Justice League, they get teleported away out of nowhere. And then they find that they are in a place out of time with the Justice League Incarnate. And Justice League Incarnate is the super team that has been tracking across the multiverse to stop Darkseid in previous issues. So they say that there's a threat coming and they need more heroes to help them out. Well, the threat reveals itself shortly afterwards, and Justice League Incarnate go to work to fight the threat. And things don't go exactly how they think it should go. And I don't want to spoil anything for you.
The title of
the title kind of gives it away. And but anyways, they're gonna need more heroes in order to combat this new threat. So we're gonna stick with it for a little bit and see what happens. So Justice League number 75, the death of the Justice League, ends up with
4 shields after we rounded it up.
4 shields, rounded up. All right, so there is our mentions for this week. Now we go to our top 3.
All right, and surprise, surprise, there was a tie for second place. So, looked around, figured we found a game, and we found the hero clicks that we got when the first sets came out.
Oh, yeah.
And we've only played one time before the other day.
I mean, the fun back then was in collecting, not so much in actually playing.
I mean, I'm not even sure we played right. It seemed to me that we didn't because you kind of, either you cheated, I don't know. But EMoney beat me, surprise, surprise. And he decided what order books 2 and 3 are shown to you this week. So if you don't think that's the right order, blame that guy. All right. So, number 3 per EMoney from Marvel, Punisher, number 2.
All right, so in this issue, as we saw in the last issue, the Punisher, Frank Castle, has become the new head of the Hand. And he's trying to adjust to his new role here. And in one panel, we see Frank is trying to learn the way of the ninja, or what hand members do to fight.
He's trying to learn how to fight with a sword.
Yeah, and he's not doing too well. And the old woman who is like his counselor, his guide, whatever you want to call it, she keeps telling him, "You don't need to do this. This is not why I chose you for this." And and she says like every hand member, even the lowest member, they've learned how to fight with a sword and learn all these ancient ways since they were 3, 5, 6 years old. And you can't possibly hope to catch up. And Frank's like, I don't care. We're gonna keep doing this. So he keeps at it with the sword. Also, the Hand is in a bit of a dispute with a group calling themselves the Spartans, and they're arms dealers, and they're providing weapons to questionable and savory sorts. And the Hand keeps stopping them at every turn.
Which doesn't sound like the Hand.
No, well, Frank tells them that the Hand is going to go in a different way. He is going to send the Hand after people who he tells them to.
Only those people.
Yeah, who he in his mind who deserves it. And usually if you're okay with killing, Frank is usually pretty good at picking the people who deserve it. And the Spartans, they try to broker a peace deal with them, but things don't go as planned. And towards the end of the issue, it's revealed who is the head of the Spartans. And I can't say I was really surprised, but still pretty interesting. All right, so, and also the artwork is top notch in this story. I mean, did I give it a 5? I think I gave it a 5.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I mean, that's very rare. If you guys ever watch us, I don't give a 5 out lightly, and this artwork is just beautiful. So Punisher number 2, our number 3 pick for this week, with
4.5 shields after we rounded it up.
4.5 shields rounded up.
That's a good score.
Yep, it's pretty damn good. All right, next up.
Number 2, book that I think it's pretty much made our top few books every week, or every month. This is Gunslinger Spawn, number 7.
All right. So our favorite Hellspawn here has found himself a little stranded out in the middle of nowhere. So, and he's not a super powerful Hellspawn, and he can't fly or anything. So he resorts to hitchhiking. Well, at some point when he's out in the woods, he is confronted by some lycanthropes, some werewolves, and they think that the gunslinger will make for some interesting prey. Well, he does not disappoint. And then later on, Gunslinger finds himself in a trucker's bar, and not being one who can stay out of trouble for very long, gets into it with a couple of big burly trucker types. So some good action in this one, and Gunslinger Spawn always has some of the best artwork. Is this one from Todd? No. Artwork is by Brett Booth. So
like I've said for years, Todd is an excellent artist, and he also finds excellent artists to draw his books for him.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I gave the art of this one a 5.
Oh, nice. All right, so Gunslinger Spawn number 7, our number 2 pick for this week, with 4.5
shields
rounded up. All right. Now for our number 1 pick. This is a comic book that has been highly anticipated for a long time. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, number 5, the conclusion. All right, now, before I get into it, I want you guys to really appreciate how big a deal it is that this is our number 1 pick for this week, because the old man has never liked Ninja Turtle stuff.
I like the very early issues.
Right, the very first stuff, because
before they gave the rights to Archie, I couldn't stand the run in Archie. Couldn't stand it.
And that was some of the comic books I read as a kid. I mean, every Wednesday I was getting Ninja Turtles Archie stuff. So I loved it because I was a kid. That's what I liked. So the old man, since then, I mean, he's never liked any of the movies. He didn't like the Michael Bay movies. He didn't like the Jim Henson movies. I watched the cartoon as a kid, and I think he may have endured some of that because I was a kid.
Something else to do.
But so never liked Ninja Turtles, but The Last Ronin has been great stuff. And I think I convinced you to start reading this because I'd heard it was making a big stink on all the comic book sites, and I'm like, we got to get this. And I hadn't read a Ninja Turtles book in years.
I'll tell you why I almost refused to get it. Because they made it the oversized, just like the original comics were, which is annoying when you want to store a comic book. But we got them anyway.
Yeah. So I hadn't read a Ninja Turtles comic book in years, but I heard everything going on with The Last Ronin, and they were sold out for weeks. They were waiting for the second print to get in, and we were kind of left waiting. But we finally got it, and this has been, I think it's may have been number 1 every time it's come out.
You have to go back and review the video.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. So Michelangelo, the last surviving turtle, has decided to make his last stand against the offspring of Shredder, Hiroto, and he's going after him. And the city is also under attack at the same time, and April and April's daughter Casey are trying to get as many survivors out of harm's way as they can, and they're resistance soldiers are also leading the charge. But, Michelangelo in Hiroto's battle, rages, from, the tallest tower of New York all the way down to the sewers. I mean, they fight all over the place. And the ending, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's, hits you right in the feels. So, appreciate how big this is, especially for the old man. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and artwork top notch.
Well, this is one of those many times where we tied.
Mm-hmm.
We both gave it a 4 in artwork. We already told you that's a pretty big deal, but we both gave it a 5 for the writing. And we don't discuss these books before we sit down and compare them. I have no idea what he's going to give it. He doesn't know what I've already given it. And the fact that we both gave it the same score should tell you something.
Yeah. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, number 5, the conclusion to the story, and it gets a solid 4.5 shields out of 5.
No rounding, highest score we've ever given a book.
And we've never given a solid 5 or a 5 rounded up before. This is as high as it has been so far. So appreciate how big that is. So all 5 issues of The Last Ronin should be available at your local comic book shops right now. Highly encourage you to check them out. All right. So that is our picks for this week. Now, what is coming out today?
Well, after this huge week from last week where we picked up 22 comics, this one gets cut in half. We're looking at 11 comics, much more manageable.
Because that was kind of stressful this last week.
It was. It was kind of like, oh my Lord, this is not fun. This is a job. We have to read these comic books. But this will be easier. Not a lot of big books coming out. Flashpoint Beyond number 1, we read number 0 already. That was interesting to say the least. And I know we're not really big on X-Men books, but this one I have to get. It's Giant Size X-Men Thunderbird, number 1. Now see, you probably barely remember Thunderbird, because he died in issue 95, the second appearance of the new X-Men.
Okay.
And his brother was there, and then, at any rate, interesting character. I'd like to see more of him, so I'm looking forward to that. And Maestro World War Hulk number 3 comes out.
All right, so you can get those at your local comic book shop today, assuming you're watching on Wednesday. All right, now time for give you guys a little preview of what you can expect at this weekend's pop-up comic book shop. All right, so our local pop-up comic book shop in Louisville, Kentucky is this Saturday. It's Derby Day. It's going to be from 10 to 2. So you come out early enough, it's not going to interfere with any of your Derby plans. I have Derby plans, but I'm still going to be there. All right, so what happens at the local our pop-up comic book shop? Well, we have comic books from anywhere from, we have a few for 50 cents. We have 2 boxes for 50 cents. And then others start at $1 and they go up from there. We have all kinds of key issues. Check out our ads on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace for listings of some of our key issues. All kinds. And we also have toys that, we told you guys before, we have so many toys that we can't display them all in one week. We have to rotate them every week. So if you've been to our sale this last week or the week before, we're going to have almost all new toys this week. So, check us out if you want to get some collectible action figures, or you're just looking for some stuff to take home to your kids for them to play with. We have those too. All right, so also, if you're looking to sell some stuff, I tell this to my trivia people every week. If you have a box of comic books or toys that are collecting dust that you're looking to get rid of, bring it by the comic book shop.
We'll take a look.
Yeah, we might be interested in buying something from you. I tell you, I get a little frustrated because, my dad, he works part-time at Comic Book World, and he tells me about all these collections that come through the store, and, the guys buying up all the comic book collections in there. And I'm like, why don't people come to us? I'm not saying we could buy, a lot of these huge collections, but there are, some things that we could buy. And, I'd like for those to come through the store sometimes. All right, so if you have a collection, let us know about it. Bring it to the store. All right, so now to give you guys a little preview of what you can expect at this week's pop-up comic book shop. I have just 3 key issues that I'm going to show you. Like I said, we have tons more. All right, so first up, we have the Mighty Thor number 134. It's a Silver Age issue, 12-cent cover price. This is the first appearance of the High Evolutionary. And you told me that he's coming very soon, right?
Word is that we'll see him in the MCU fairly soon.
You know, could be a hot comic book in the near future. All right, so next up, we have one that's a little bit off the beaten path here. It's not a Marvel or a DC. This one comes from Dark Horse Comics, and this is The Last of Us American Dreams number 1. This is based off of the hit comic book from Naughty Dog. And it's a first print. We actually looked this up because some guys that came by the shop said they were interested in it, and we looked up the difference between the first print, and it's actually in the font. The white font means it's first print. So have that there, and you know, if you ever have played the video game, you know, it's great stuff, very cinematic, and this is set to be made into a HBO series very soon. So
Looking forward to that. I like my zombie stuff.
So another comic that's going to become hot in the near future. And then finally, we have another Silver Age comic, Captain America number 111, and it's got some classic Jim Steranko artwork right there.
Those of you who are familiar with Mr. Steranko, one heck of an artist. He is someone that Jack Kirby based one of his characters on. Do you know who that is?
That would be Mr. Miracle.
That is correct. Jack Kirby went to a circus and saw Steranko doing an escape artist act and decided, that's pretty cool, I'll make a character after that.
All right, so these are just a few comic books that you can pick up at our shop this Saturday. All right, now on to the toys. All right, first up, I told you guys before that we have several different versions of the Hulk Rage Cage that are available at the shop. And this one is, I believe it's from the 90s. This is the Electronic Hulk Rage Cage. It's from the UPN Kids TV series. I don't know if any of you 90s kids remember that one. But it's pretty cool. You press a button and, Hulk, explodes out of the cage. Like, Hulk smash, nothing can stop the Hulk. Cool stuff.
I think he just roars.
That too. All right, so there's that. And then this is a really cool, well, let's do this one first. This is really cool. This is the Joker Clown Prince of Crime figure, and it's a really nice looking Joker figure here. This is, what Joker should look like. Take note, all of you actors out there who looking to do a different take on the Joker. This is what you need. This is what he's supposed to look like right here. And he's got a lot of his accessories. He's got the classic bang gun and present with the Joker gifts in him, and he even has his cane here, which you don't see him with the cane that often, but it is a classic staple of the Joker. So yeah, that, and then finally we have this one from Marvel Legends Masterworks. This is Galactus versus everybody, and you see Galactus looking all big and gigantic here, and then you have all of the Marvel superheroes, kind of miniaturized, fighting all around him. And here you have Thing on his shoulder, and Reed Richards is trying to wrap himself around Galactus's arm, and Iron Man and Human Torch are flying around him. Doctor Strange behind him, and Thor by his feet along with Captain America, and then Wasp is flying around next to him. So
no mutants?
No mutants here that I can see, no. Unless Wasp isn't a mutant, is she?
No.
Okay, so yeah, no mutants. So Galactus versus everybody, really cool. And also there's a reprint of Fantastic Four number 243 in here. So, another cool thing to have. All right, so there is just a small tease of our toy collection, and you can check everything else out on our listings. Like I said, check them out on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and you can check out the rest at our shop this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 7002 Brookbend Way, Louisville, Kentucky.
Rain or shine.
Rain or shine. No holds. No holds. No early birds, and cash only. All right. So hope to see you guys there. All right. I have a little special challenge planned for Thor. So let's head back up into the garage. All right, back out here in the garage with Thor. So Thor here, he gets a lot of treats at home. He gets a pretty wide variety that Mom and Dad give him for him and his brother. But which treats does Thor like the best? Well, we're gonna find out. This is the doggy challenge video of the week. Go.
Treat.
Oh, we have a winner.
Just because it was closest.
All right, there was our doggy challenge video of the week. Now we know. Good job, Thor.
Do we?
Good job.
Do we?
All right, so to give you guys a heads up of what's going on this week. Later today, we're going to have the finale reaction video to the Mark and Steven show. And I'm sorry, to the Moon Knight season finale.
He ain't wrong.
Because lately it's been feeling like the Mark and Steven show. All right, also, of course, we're going to have this Saturday our pop-up comic book shop, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 7002 Brookbend Way. And, hopefully, it won't interfere with any of your derby plans. I have plans of my own, but we're still going to be doing it 10 to 2. All right, and, don't forget to check out the channel and see all of the Thor videos that I have in the album. All right? All right, we'll see you guys on the next one. Excelsior.
True believers, I know we don't say it often enough, but thank you for watching our videos. And for those of you who get all the way to where I do my True Believers thing, you're superstars in my book.